Hey, what is up guys, your boy Uzukage here with a new what if, and this what if is what if Deku had all for one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's begin. Okay, I'm gonna start off with how Deku actually has all for one. Basically, in this one, he has no real family ties to the actual all for one. So I'm gonna say Deku is just born with it. Like, if all for one was born with it, why can't he? So with that cleared up, let's get into it. Deku is at the Quirk Doctor waiting for his results, playing around with Bakugou, with their action figures and stuff. And Deku accidentally touched Bakugou, but it's just a touch. They didn't think anything of it and they just kept on playing. So Izuku was called into the office, but before we get to that, let's see what the test that the doctor run was. So after he tested Izuku, he realized that he actually had the quirk to steal quirks. He doesn't know about like the giving part, but that won't be mentioned until later in the series. But yeah, like one of the nurses Izuku touched lost her quirk. And I'm gonna say it wasn't really anything important. Like, she had a hair growth quirk, I guess. You can regulate how fast or slow she grows her hair. Yeah, that's pretty simple. Alright, and when Izuku left, the nurse realized her quirk was gone and told the doctor. He was like, whoa, this kid can steal quirks? What the heck? This is all for one material. So he immediately went and called All Might, because this doctor actually works for many pro heroes, so he knows about one for all and all for one, and what this kid could like turn into if they don't deal with this now. So back to the present. When Izuku and Inko went into the office, they sat down and the doctor explained that Izuku had a very powerful quirk, and if he didn't train it, he could become a villain. Inko was worried, but Deku was on cloud 9. Like, he went around, what the doctor said after he said very powerful quirk, that's where Deku just stopped. He wasn't listening anymore. He just got excited, started pretending to be All Might, running around and stuff. But when he actually finally calmed down a little, there was a knock at the doctor's door. He says, who is it? No response. And then the door just got kicked in and a bunch of FBI agents ran in. They pushed past Inko, knocking her to the ground, and handcuffed Deku with a quirk nullifying cuff. The doctor was confused and tried stopping them with his, I'll say he has a barrier quirk, but one of the agents just punched right through it. Inko was on the ground crying because her son was being dragged away like some criminal or something. And Deku, he was even more confused. But yeah, the agents just carried him out of the building, and as soon as they left, this short fat guy, big belly in a black suit, came into the office, and they just tell Inko that if they don't take her son, he'll become a villain. Inko was saying stuff like, you can't just take my child, yada yada yada. And the guy, he was saying he would put him to good use and be a service to his country. And he just walked off. Inko was obviously like mad and angry, but she couldn't do anything. But yeah, to Izuku's perspective, he was knocked out, and when he woke up, he was in like this bedroom, but it was like his bedroom at home, but there was like a toilet and a dining table towards the back of the room, and the only door in the room was this huge metal door. Like, he couldn't budge it. Yeah. And let me explain why the FBI were there. Basically, when the FBI were monitoring the calls, and when the doctor made that call to All Might, they heard this, they were like, whoa, a quirk to steal quirks? Like, we could use this. Like, there could be no more criminals. So they went and got him, and before All Might could get there, You know, they wanted to use him for his own purpose. Alright, so Deku, he's still in the room and he saw someone's shadow approach underneath the door. It opened and the same guy who talked to Inko walked in. "Oh kid, you're finally awake. I thought you might have died. Those guys need to hold back sometimes." Where am I?" No, he's a little kid, so he's scared. "Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Well, you're in a maximum security prison. Here we house the baddest of the bad criminals, you know, mass murderers, cannibals, school shooters." I'm joking. But yeah. Okay, but what am I doing here?" "Kid, you aren't a prisoner, well, in the normal sense of the word, but you see, you have a unique ability. The quirk to steal quirks. And we could use that around here." Deku is still confused and the guy just said, "Come with me." So they go out and they see all the prison cells and some of the criminals are just staring at Deku as he walked by. You know, one of them said, "Fresh meat. I want peace." Okay, that was really weird. Alright, yeah. So, yeah, they walk through the prison and they go to this one inmate. They go to this one inmate, and the guy was like, "Touch him." Izuku was like, "No, he looks disgusting." Cause the guy, you know, he hasn't bathed. You know, they don't take them out of their cells, so it's just, yeah. And he's like, just touch him." So, you know, Izuku reached in and touched the guy on his shoulder. The guy had a quirk to create knives out of his fingertips. Yeah, that. So, you know, the knives that he had trying to cut Deku, they immediately went away. And the biggest grin went on the guy's face, you know, with the suit. And he was like, "Good. We got good intel. Yeah, we're gonna use you around here." So Izuku, they slap on some quirk nullification cuffs again, cause he's gonna be taking quirks, but they don't want him to use them. And the room that he stays in, that whole thing is like an area to nullify quirks. So they take him back to his room, and right now he's 4. And for the next year, they've just been taking in criminals and, you know, letting Deku take their quirks. And the news gets word that, you know, the government has a way of taking people's quirks. And Inko, she's at home. She's still crying. I'm gonna say Hisashi is still there, you know. She's crying in his arms. And she sees the news and she immediately knows it's Deku. Like, come on, it's not common to have that quirk. So she actually, you know, wants to do something. So she becomes a lawyer. You know, she studies, but it's gonna take a while. So yeah, back to Izuku. Over the year, now he's 5. Over the years, he's been taking a few people's quirks, like 1 quirk every month. So even in courtrooms, there's now a new sentence. Instead of actually going to prison, you can have your quirk stolen. So I'm gonna say, you know, villains get word of this, and you know, All For One actually gets word of it. He's like, someone like me, this might be interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna say crime rate also goes down around 1%, you know, because people are like, yeah, I could steal this money, but I kind of want my quirk. So yeah, it doesn't go down by much, but yeah, it goes down. And Deku is just, he's really and truly being treated like a prisoner. Like, the only time he sees anyone is every month when he takes someone's quirk. Also, guys, comment down below, like, what quirks do you want Deku to have? I mean, he has All For One, so yeah, I have a few on my mind, but you could tell me in the comments. So yeah, I'm gonna actually switch to Bakugou's perspective. So when he went home from, you know, that crazy stuff that happened at the doctor's office, he wanted to train his quirk because he heard that Deku had a really powerful quirk, so he didn't want him to one up him. So he went to make explosions, but there was nothing coming out. You know, he was really confused and he tried to force it, and he realized, you know, he didn't have his quirk anymore. He's still 4, so he went and cried to his mom saying, oh, he doesn't have his quirk, yada yada yada. And you know, Bakugou just has been sad for like the past month. But you know, we all know Bakugou. He's strong-headed, so he's been researching a way to, you know, unlock your quirk or get back a quirk, or even just gain a quirk in general. So he comes across this sketchy site. It's like, you know, he's on the dark web basically. Like, you want a quirk? Come to, I don't know, 914 Dagobah alleyway or whatever. So yeah, one night Bakugou actually sneaks out and goes to the place, and he sees this mist start surrounding him, and then he gets teleported into like a bar. Now, also I should mention, Bakugou, he hates Deku like with a passion, cause Mitsuki told Bakugou that, like, he overheard Mitsuki talking to Inko that Deku actually has the quirk to steal quirks. So he basically summed up that, you know, when he touched him, he stole his quirk. You know, I mean, it wasn't on purpose, but you know, he hates Deku's guts. So yeah, Bakugou is at the bar, and this guy with hands on his face saying, Kirigiri, who's this kid? He's like, young master, I saw him in the alleyway where we normally pick up fresh meat. He's like, oh, what's so special about this one? And Bakugou is saying, hey, don't come near me, and he goes into a fighting stance. And Shigaraki's like, what are you gonna do, kid? I could kill you on the spot. And then Shigaraki touches one of the bar stools and it just disintegrates. Bakugou is like, oh god damn, you know, I can't do anything against that. So he kind of backs off, and then he bumps into someone's leg. He turned around and sees this really tall guy. You know, he has no eyes, no nose. Honestly, how does All For One even survive? Or whatever, but he bumps into this guy and he turns around and he sees, you know, All For One. He's like, kid, what are you doing here? He's like, well, someone stole my quirk, so I wanted it back. You know, I wanted a quirk. It's like, oh, power is what you seek? Well, show me what you can do. So Izuku recently took a villain's quirk, but people didn't know he actually had 2 quirks. One was blood control, where it was basically, you know, blood bending but with your mind, and the other was an intelligence quirk. So Deku, his IQ, like, it's over 9,000. But yeah, Deku, he's really smart, like Principal Nezu smart. So he's been planning like a way how to escape, and you know, he notices something. Every time they come in, and as they lock the door, it actually automatically locks, so they don't push it in. So he thinks if he can slide something there, you know, to block it from, you know, closing, he could actually like creep out and get out. So he tries it one day and it actually works. So Deku is out of his room and there's a hallway leading to the main cells. So Deku actually has a transformation quirk. He can turn into, you know, animals for a short period of time, like 1 minute, because he hasn't really trained any of the quirks he has. So Deku, he becomes this a bee and starts flying throughout the prison and finds somewhere to escape. As he escapes, he transforms back, and all the guards see him and start rushing at him. Sirens going off, the whole prison is on lockdown. And Deku is running, and Deku gets sniped in his ankles. It wasn't a headshot, but yeah, it slowed him down. But Deku has a healing factor, like he can heal really fast. So that's healed up in like 20 seconds. And Deku activated another quirk he got. It's a speed quirk. So Deku can increase his speed by 2. So he does this and he runs out of the prison, and he goes out and he runs into a forest where he thinks no one would find him. So Deku has been in the forest for around a month, scavenging for food. And during this time, the FBI agents have been looking for him. So Deku is always on the move. So after a while, he sees a city, and he actually steals a hoodie. He steals a hoodie and puts it on, and he goes around the city and starts touching people, trying to see if he can get a quirk to hide his identity. So he finally gets this quirk where he can change his outer appearance. It's kind of like genjutsu, but it's an illusion quirk. So you can make outward illusions, like create an illusion of, I don't know, a cow or something, or you can make yourself an illusion. So he makes himself an illusion as like another person around his age. And he goes, and around this time the timeline doesn't match up. Yikes. Alright, timeline doesn't match up, so yeah, just retcon the whole, he gets a quirk every month. So he gets like 2 quirks every year, and he's been in the prison for what is it, like 6? He's been in the prison for 10 years. And during this time, Inko actually became a lawyer, and she's trying to, fight the government, but it's kind of one person against the whole government, so it's not going too great. But yeah, she actually finds out that her son escaped, and she's been looking for him. So yeah, Izuku, he's still walking around the city, and he notices on like a flyer that UA is doing their entrance exams, a week away. So Deku is interested, he still wants to be a hero. But while he was in the prison, he got kind of he doesn't really trust people all that much. So he normally stays to himself. And yeah, so before the entrance exam, he's just been training, and one day he came across this group of villains trying to steal this little girl, trying to kidnap this little girl. So as Deku sees them grab her and start running, he activates his speed quirk and runs up to them and punches both of them in the head, knocking them over. It wasn't that hard, so they didn't really get knocked out. So the guys drop the girl, and this girl, she looks kind of weird. He looks at her and he's like, why do you have 2 different colored hair? Yes, you guys know where I'm going with this. But he's just thinking about this in his head, it's kind of weird. And she has a scar, that's even weirder. But yeah, so he runs at the guys, and one of the guys, what quirk do I want to give him? This has a strength boost quirk. So one of the guys, boosts his strength by 3, and dodges Deku's punch and goes in for his own punch, but you know, Deku is speed quirk. So he dodges that and gives the guy a right hook in the face, you know, knocking him out. And the other guy sees this and he's like, yeah, I kind of want to live. So he just starts running. But Deku is like, yeah, nah, bro, what are you doing? Get back here. So he goes, knocks out that guy as well, and throws both of them into an alleyway. You know, the girl walks up to him and she's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. She's bowing and stuff. Deku's like, it's okay. He's like, please, you know, tell me your name, tell me your name. It's like, is it, you know, he stops himself. He doesn't want anyone to know his actual identity. It is Izuka. Yeah, that'll work. It's Izuka. Like, oh my god, Izuka, thank you. I'm Shoko Todoroki. Like, oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks again. And you know, she waves and runs away. No, Deku sees her, you know, she was kind of acting weird, but he didn't really think too much about it. So yeah, the day of the UA entrance exams, Deku goes in for, you know, the written portion. You know, aces that, you know, Nezu intelligence, even corrects some questions. And they're about to start the robot test, and he goes to walk up in front of the gates, you know, because he wants to be the first one out. And Ida walks up to him and is like, hey, what are you doing? You were going to talk to that girl over there. It's like, no, I was going to the front of the gate. Like, no, you were going to talk to that girl. Deku's just like, Deku just tries to walk past him, and then Ida grabs him by the shoulder. You know, Deku just grabs his wrist and like brings it up, almost breaking it. And then Ida drops to the ground and he's like, oh, please stop. Like, okay, don't ever touch me again, you filth. And you know, he throws his hands away and walks to the front. And President Mike is like, 3, 2, go. And that's where I'm gonna end it. Alright, I hope you guys like this video. I didn't really have that like a complex of a script. You know, I just had a little outline, and you know, most of the times I just went with the flow. So if you guys like this new style better than like how I did my old videos, just tell me in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.